Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good morning. Nice to have you here. Good to see these beautiful smiling faces. This is a beautiful psalm originally composed probably by David or the sons of Korach or someone, but this version is by Shlomo Karlibach. So we're going to start with Ki Malachav, and Darren has the English up there for you this time. This is a fun song. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to everyone from all over. Good to be with you. How's everybody doing this morning? Quiet, relaxed, good. Paul Wilbur always can bring the energy up, so let's bring it to Paul here. Ready? I hope everyone still has their prayers going up for the land and for the people as we find ourselves still in the midst of war-torn Israel. We're looking forward to the day when we truly can rejoice in and with Israel. This song, Blow a Trumpet in Zion, it's actually a war song. It's not really a great thing that God is talking about when the day of the Lord is coming. But more and more we need this. We need the sound of the shofar to sound. We need the armies to gather and assemble, and we need the king to come and establish the kingdom on earth. And then we will sing this song. For now, we'll just practice it, okay?
Trumpet in Zion, sounding on the mountain. Blow a trumpet in Zion, for the day of the Lord is come. Blow a trumpet in Zion, sounding on the mountain. Blow a trumpet in Zion, for the day of the Lord is come. For the day of the Lord is come. The day of the Lord is come. Rejoice, O Israel, rejoice. O Zion, rejoice. For the Lord your God has made you his delight. Rejoice, O Israel, rejoice. O Zion, rejoice. For the Lord your God has made you his delight. He's made you his delight. He's made you his delight.
May it be soon and in our day, right? Just back from Israel, got a lot of Hebrew on my mind, so we're doing a mostly Hebrew day here. Part of the coming kingdom is that the world will be drawn back to Torah, to a way of living that is righteous, that gives honor to God and gives love and respect and care to all humanity. And that will be written on our hearts. Hashivenu Avinu, bring us back, our Father.
Hashivenu Avinu Toratecha V'kavenu Malkeinu Avodatecha V'chazireinu B'shuva Shlema Lefanecha. Hashivenu Avinu Toratecha Bekarenu Makenu Lavodatecha Vechazivenu B'shuva Shlema B'tshuva shlema lefanecha. Na'aseh Adam, Na'aseh Adam, Na'aseh Adam, Na'aseh Adam, Na'aseh Adam, Na'aseh Adam, oy oy oy, Na'aseh Adam, B'tzalmenu kidmutenu, Na'aseh Adam, B'tzalmenu kidmutenu, Na'aseh Adam, Na'aseh Adam, Na'aseh Adam, oy oy oy, Na'aseh Adam, B'tzalmenu kidmutenu, Na'aseh Adam, B'tzalmenu kidmutenu. Elias kaname, Kanashe נשב ונרץ כצבי בגיבור קרי לעשות רצון אביך שבשמיים. אליעז כאן אומר כל כאן נשב ונרץ כצבי בגיבור קרי לעשות רצון אביך שבשמיים. אוי 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 נעשה אדם בצלמנו כדמותנו. נעשה אדם בצלמנו Salvenu kitmutenu, kitmutenu, kitmutenu. Modeh Ani levanecha melech hayakayim. Modeh Ani levanecha melech hayakayim. Zata benediction and love above Modeh Zata benediction and love above Modeh. I graciously thank you, living an eternal King, for restoring my soul within me with compassion. How abundant is your faithfulness. Modeh Ani
Let's stand together, friends. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la. Barechu et Adonai, ha-mevorach, Baruch Adonai ha-mevorach, le'olam va'ed, le'olam, 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 va'ed, ya la la, ya la la la. You may be seated as we declare together the watchword of Israel. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Blessed is the name of his glorious kingdom. Blessed is his name for all eternity. Blessed is the name of his glorious kingdom for all eternity. For all eternity. Yeshua, he is my Messiah. He is Lord of all. Yeshua, he is my Messiah. He is Lord of all. He is Lord of all. He is Lord of all. Yeah. Let's stand. Why are we standing? Because I said so, Lance said, but no, that's because for thousands of years we've been standing at this time together as a community, not literally thousands of years here, but the Jewish people, the standing prayer, the Amida, as we come into the presence of God. You know, through the Barechu, we we acknowledge his kingship. Through the Shema, we take on the yoke of the kingdom of heaven. And then with the Amida, we exalt. And it's all like an upward journey into the very presence.
Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Open my lips, open my lips, open my lips, open my lips, and my mouth may declare your praise. Declare your praise, declare your praise, declare your praise. Adonai, Sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha.
The God who is faithful through all the generations.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Chanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chazdei Avot, מביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו בהרחבה, מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם.
To the God who is faithful to resurrect the dead.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיים מתים אתה ברב לחושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לך חיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
To the Holy One seated above the heavens.
קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. ממקומך מגנו תופיע, תמתוך עלינו, כי בך כי אנחנו לך. איי 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 מצאי
God who gives us this day of rest and refreshing. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. The God whose ever watchful eye is over his land, who will return his presence to Zion. Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Le'etzion. The God who is good, his name is good, everything is good. The blessings he pours out upon us are endless and unable to be compensated for in words. He is beyond all gratitudes. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulchanei lehodo. The God who grants us peace. Sim shalom tova uvracha chaim chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Hashivenu Avinu kulanu ke'echad yalalai yalalai bor panecha kivod panecha natata lanu yalalai yalalai Adonai Eloheinu Torah chayim ve'chavat hesed u'ustaka uracha ve'rachamim ve'chayim yalalai v'shalom v'tov yeh v'necha v'vachenu urvarech et kol amcha Yisrael b'chol et uvchol shah yalalai b'shlomecha Baruch atah Adonai havarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
Avinu Shabbat Yitkadesh Shmecha Tavo Malchutecha Yeaseh Retzonecha Kasher Bashamayim Gam Ba'aretz Et Lamenu Lemachar Ten Lanu Hayom Umechon Lanu Al Chuvoteyenu Kasher Mecharamnu Gam Ananu Lechayaveinu Yal Timienu Lidei Nisayon Im Tasilenu Min Hara Ki Lecha Chamach Lecha Ve'Hagebura Ve'Cha Tiferet Ve'Omei Olamim Amen. For the sake of our Master Yeshua, in his merit and his virtue, may the sayings of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be faithful
Blessed are you, O Lord our God, the King of the universe, who has given us the way of salvation in Messiah Yeshua. Amen. You may be seated. Again, a Shabbat of peace. This is a special Shabbat. I'm going to give you one clue. See if you can guess it. Ready? It's Shabbat Parah, the Shabbat of the cow. We're reading the red heifer portion, and so you might notice something about the flowers as it comes to the color Adom, red. Shabbat Shalom on this Shabbat Parah as we're making our way into the month of Nisan, coming up to Pesach. You can support the work of Shalom Macon right there or over there in the corner in the tzedakah box. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Woo!
Shabbat Shalom. Good morning. I am not Dave. I am his mild-mannered alter ego. Super Dave is off visiting family today, so I'm Jarrett Reagan. I'm filling in for him as best as I can. So, okay, I hope I can do him justice. I want to welcome everybody here this morning on this beautiful spring-like day. It's good to see everybody here. Also want to welcome our online community, Shalom at Home, Bob and Elizabeth Williams from Lincoln, Nebraska. Our own Sabrina Huckey, who is joining us from Fort Smith, Arkansas today. Good thing about modern technology is wherever we travel in the world, we can still worship with our community online. David Flake from Canby, Indiana. Welcome. The Troball family from North Dakota. Like to welcome you as well. Others from around the country, such as from Missouri, Colorado, California, Montana, Michigan, and across the country. A special welcome to someone joining us today from Cyprus, Rika and her husband. So we miss you too, Rika. Thanks for joining us. Also, Italy and other points around the globe have joined us today. Settle in, we got a lot of announcements this morning. No Teens to Life this afternoon. Unfortunately, Kids Hebrew, however, and Torah Club are still meeting at 1:30 this afternoon. Torah on tap tonight, and for those men that have been around for a couple of years waiting for us to finish the book, tonight's supposed to be the night that we finish the book. Lights Along the Path, I think. Yes. And then moving on, the next book will be announced tonight, so you want to make sure you come tonight for that. So Camp Zadi is coming up. There's going to be a parents meeting on Zoom. That's coming up March the 23rd at 7 p.m., so mark your calendars for that. We're going to discuss information sharing, also talk about fundraising, transportation, and just get all the information you can on Camp Zadi coming up. Reach out to Shelly Patterson if you have questions. That's SHELLIEDP@gmail.com. I know you got that, right? Making Men Prayer Breakfast is coming up April the 9th. That's 9 a.m. here at the shul. Passover Seder. If you haven't already registered for that, the email is out. Make sure you check on that. April 13th, 6:30 p.m. You can register online at shalommacon.org. And then not long after that, Dag BaOmer. That's coming up April 27th. More information on that is forthcoming as we get closer to it. And then busy spring and busy early summer, Shavuot with Shalom, May 30th through June 2nd, and then Camp DeRote, June 23rd through the 27th. So lots happening in the life of our community. It's good to see everyone here this morning. Shabbat Shalom.
I love it when Jarrett does the announcements. It's like having a DJ in the house. It's like a professional broadcaster. I do want to mention one follow-up about the Passover Seder. Let me explain that. We haven't had a Passover Seder in a long time. The reason we're having one now is because we built this place to do that. We built this to be an outreach, to be able to have meals, to be able to sponsor these things. Not really for you. For all the people that you know that you want to introduce to the idea of a Passover Seder, that's what this is. That's why this is the second night. Your first night Seders are usually with family or friends or whatever that is, but you can, let me retract that. Of course it's for you, but we're hoping that it will also be an opportunity for outreach for you to invite people to come and be a part of a Seder. It's not going to be your traditional, mostly in Hebrew, 4.5-hour Seder. We'll very likely be using Darren's Haggadah, Cup of Redemption, which is a beautiful asset in helping people to understand Passover and the Seder a little more clearly. So I want to invite you. We haven't actually set up the registration page for it right now. I think, how is registration happening? Just via email. Oh, in the email? We sent out an email that I never saw, but we're going to work on an actual registration page this week. Say thank you to Amida Christian, who does a lot of our registration pages and everything. A remote Shalom Macon asset, one of many. Amanda, let's start working on a registration page. How's that? All right, kids, let's go to Shabbat school. Oh, yes. Another asset of Shalom Macon, a guy who just continues to shine in his new video and production role. Darren has been doing 5-minute Torahs now, and you've watched the quality and the just everything just elevating on those. He made another video for us, a quick little snippet of what happened last Sunday. I want you to enjoy it. I forgot to acknowledge our camera people. The Birch boys, drone footage all over the place, incredible. Such a group of talent. And look at this group of talent. By the way, nice catch. You shouldn't have put that one in there of Jeremy beating me for a touchdown. That was unfair. Yisimcha Elohim, ke Ephraim, v'chi Menashe. May the Lord make you like Ephraim and Menashe. Yisameach Elohim, ke Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Valea, and boy. Nice suit, buddy. Nice suit. Let me see. Real quick. He'll probably cry, but let's get a quick look. Come here. Stand up. We're starting a trend over here. You know what these suits are about? These are our matzah suits. We're in the real flavor of Passover here. Father, I ask for your blessing upon our children, Lord. I ask that you will help us to be a light to them as they will be a light to the world, living their lives modeled after the teaching of our Master, filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, and preparing this place for the return of the kingdom. Yivorechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, yo'er Adonai ponav elecha v'yihuneka, yis Adonai ponav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Okay, you can walk to where your escort is. So for the past 4 weeks, I know I missed a couple since, but the 4 weeks before I left, I was talking to you about what? Thankfully, one person got it. Confidence, talking to you about the strength and the necessity of being courageous, stepping into the arena, overcoming self-doubt, becoming the best version of yourself. That's what we talked about for 4 weeks. And it's a bit of a strange kind of topic for a religious environment. I get it, right? It's kind of weird. No, not at all. It's not weird. I came across the very, very famous words from the Rabbi Hillel and Shammai. You remember Hillel? He was one of the great thinkers of Judaism. He was a pillar of Jewish thought and practice pre-Yeshua. But this particular confidence resonating statement of his came to me as I was thinking this week. He wrote, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I'm not for myself, if I can't manage myself, if I can't live with boldness, who's going to do that for me? Who's going to help me live a fulfilled life?" Now, there are other interpretations of what Hillel meant, but I'm taking that one for this message about confidence, courage, and life. Hillel's words, they underscore something essential, the value of individual responsibility and self-determination. We need to learn to be for ourselves, not tossed about in a sea of negativity or fear about what other people think about us. All that stuff that we talked about for 4 weeks, which I'm not going back to right now. I'm just recapping and connecting that to Hillel. But there is a criticism. No one really leveled it, but there is a potential criticism that one could bring of all this talk of self-improvement and self-realization when we're supposed to be learning about God. In other words, I realized how easy it would be for someone to misinterpret the messages that I have been giving, to assume that I'm falling into a modern trap. The modern trap of thinking that I can solve every problem, that everything can be solved from the inside out, that if we just think right, the world will be perfect, that we're masters of our universe. Now, you might have realized that our world has become a bit me-centric. It actually always has been, but I think with social media, humanity has sort of taken a new turn. It's especially visible, telling us, take care of yourself. Pursue what is good for you. Be good and healthy individuals. And all your days, if you just give yourself self-care, will be filled with daisies and sunshine. The I culture. We have the iPhone, the iPad, we have the I, me, I culture. All will be well if I just take care of me. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? Yeah, Hillel, yeah. Go, buddy. He knows what's up. He does know what's up. Hillel has always known what's up, and thus he continues with a sort of limitation of his first statement in the very next one. He doesn't stop with that question that focuses only inward and says, who's going to be for me if I don't do it? He says this very important thing, but if I am only for myself, what am I? If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? But if I'm only for myself, what am I? And there's a vitally important consideration, a component there about that question that relates to our contentment, our happiness, our satisfaction. Because as essential as personal confidence is, I want to talk about a powerful balance that ancient Jewish wisdom understood much better than modern wisdom seems to. Something that we can lose sight of when we dedicate a lot of time to working on ourselves. It's important, but it's this. Hillel's words point out a very crucial, critical balance. And the Torah over the last few weeks has sort of been focused on this, especially this week, and I want to point that out to you today. I can be, I actually must be always working on the best version of myself. But if I am only that, what am I? The realization that true fulfillment and meaning are impossible when you just live inward, consumed with us. And Hillel's ancient wisdom speaks to this modern phenomenon that was jokingly coined in 2014 that was called selfitis. Selfitis. It was a joke, but now it's not so much of a joke. It was about everybody walking around taking pictures of their food. Who cares? Like selfitis. It was a joke, but now it's very real. And they actually talk about this in psychology. The idea of absolute consumption, that a self-consumed behavior that represents this societal shift that we're living through. But it really points to something much deeper, a real psychological condition. What's the psychological manual called? The DMT-5 or something? DSM, yeah. A real condition. This all points to something. It starts with an M. It's a Greek mythological fable from this guy. His name was Narcissus. Narcissism. It's a real thing in this supposedly connected world where we can be connected at any time. We have this loneliness and anxiety and loss of meaning everywhere. A world that constantly tells us to pursue your personal this, your personal greatness, your self-fulfillment. And so often what we find is that people just end up completely internalized, losing sight of the rest of the world. But the last couple of Torah portions, Ki Tisa was when I was gone last week. It's probably the highlight of lesson learning in the Torah, which was the golden calf. And this week we move to Vayechel, and they show something so important to see about us as people. Listen, no matter how confident you are, no matter how successful you are, no matter how much life is put together for you, you can't do it alone. It's not the way we're built. as we're observing in our own culture. Self-obsession, all this is completely unnatural to our humanity. You can't do it alone. We're not built to live like that. Physically isolated, of course, but psychologically isolated. Relationship isolation. Endlessly chasing personal recognition and validation and the me, myself, and I culture. Rabbi Hillel, 2,000 years ago, certainly understood that duality of, yeah, stand up for yourself, be confident and take care of what needs, and demonstrate self-care. You know, that's a big buzzword today, self-care. Yeah, demonstrate self-care, but never lose sight of the fact that you are alone, you are incomplete. There's a story in the Talmud that talks of Rabbi Yochanan, who was a great healer, and he could go around and heal everybody, and one day he got sick. And he called Rabbi Hanina. And Rabbi Hanina came, and his disciples said, why doesn't he just heal himself? And the Talmud writes, a prisoner cannot release himself from prison. Meaning, no matter how great you are, you're less than you could be if you're living apart from everything else that matters. We are social beings, and listen, with all the difficulties that people can put us through, our family, all the difficulties of relationships and all that, we have to have it. We have to have it. We have to deal with it. We're wired this way. We're strongest when we're united, when we have community, when we have communal purpose. When you're struggling emotionally, to have someone to talk to, a group, people to serve with, to build with, to struggle through life with, we need that. Okay, duh. You actually brought me here on a Saturday to tell me this? Of course, I already know that, Rabbi. Community. I get it. We know this. I'm glad, but that's not really the message. Israel, as a community, is at the center of the last two Torah portions. Same people, very different communities, and I want to show you that today. To have a community is not enough. To have your peeps around you is not enough. Community requires something. And in the previous portion, as I mentioned, Ki Tisa, we read about the community of Israel. Moses delayed coming down from Mount Sinai. The people panicked. Exodus 32. The text in Hebrew says, Vayikahel ha'am. Vayikahel ha'am. The people gathered. The people gathered. Where did they gather? They gathered around Aaron. This was the kahal. This was the community. That's connected to that word, vayikahel. It's also connected to this week's Torah portion, which is called vayichel. Same word, kahal. There's a community. The people gathered around him. Why did they gather around Aaron? They were on a mission. Well, some of them were. It was actually a small percentage of the whole community of Israelites. But this small group was on a mission, and it was enough to affect everyone else. They perceived a need within their community, right? This is framing it very positively for what actually happened. They gathered around Aaron, and they said to him, get up, make us gods who will go before us. As for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we don't know what's become of him. This was a community initiative. It was a community gathering born from anxiety, born from impatience, born from self-centeredness. It was a collective effort, but it was motivated by fear. It was motivated by lack of faith, by what-if thinking. They were worried about themselves. That's what it was about. Self-gratification. Their unified power became destructive because their intentions were completely misguided and self-centered. And we know how it goes. It devolves into this massive, craziness. They come down, they think there's war in the camp. No, they're just partying, man. They have gone off the rails. That is a critical failure, but it teaches something about communal strength, which is not alone inherently good. We've seen that time and time again through history. Nazi Germany was a community. They were aligned in purpose. October 7th, the Hamas terrorists, Hamas in general, the Palestinians, they're a community aligned in purpose. What is the purpose? The destruction of the Jewish people. Without clear, shared, noble, God-centered, disciple-making, community-supporting goals, even communities which we need spiral into chaotic, destructive behavior. And so here we have a group of individuals, which doesn't really make a community, but we have all of this impact in the huge community of impact of Israel. But listen, move from that to this week. After their catastrophic mistake, something powerful happens, and it's in this portion. In Exodus 35:1, there's another gathering. I told you that word, Vayikahel, Kahal, Moses. This week's portion starts with Vayachel Moshe. What does that mean? Moses gathered the people. It's Moses who gathers them. Now, I want you to notice that deliberate contrast. I love the fact that the Torah does that. We have the people gathering around Aaron, and now we have Moses stepping up and gathering the people. And there's a connection, pre-calf, post-calf. In the second, Moses deliberately regathers them. And it's the same people. Well, not exactly. 3,000 of them are dead. Some of those people are gone. But it's this community, the ones who intended to derail the power of the community, those main troublemakers, they're gone, but the rest are gathered. And there is the same collective potential here. The same collective potential, and now what we see is Moses brings it in and harnesses it for good. It's no wonder they freaked out that he was gone. He was the only one who could control these people. It's no wonder. And we can see vividly the tremendous power of a unified group. It is capable of profound destruction and incredible creation. And it's dependent entirely upon the group's underlying motivation and also the leadership. So what changed between these two gatherings of Vayikahel, the people gather around Aaron, Vayechel, Moses gathers the people? What changed? Well, yes, leadership, that was a thing. But intention. Moses redirected the people's powerful collective energy toward building something, building the Mishkan, a dwelling place for God. They moved from self-focus and fear and collective angst into this intentional, purposeful community. That is an antidote to self-itis and narcissism. When you align, the point is this: in a world that so emphasizes the idea of getting what's yours and keeping what's yours, and I just want my freedom. Usually it's freedom to do something incredibly destructive to you or the world, but I just want to be able to do it. In this kind of world, individualism, it is so contrasted with the Jewish way of thinking and being. You know, we don't talk a lot about individual salvation. There's not a big story in Judaism that focuses on individual salvation. Why? Because everyone matters. It's a collective. God's going to bring everyone in together. It's very different. In Pirkei Avot, once again from Hillel, we find another very important statement. You know what it says? Do not separate from the community. Tremendous weight carried there. The sages understood this. We have these isolation limits our capacity to achieve great things, a misguided purpose. This all distracts us from something great. Thank you. ChatGPT live critique of my message. Hillel continues right after that. Do not believe in yourself until the day you die. Meaning, do not think that you are strong enough spiritually to handle this life alone. It's not safe to rely solely on yourself. There will come a day when you need a hand. For more on this, sometimes in our lives, you can listen to Lean on Me by Bill Withers after Shabbat. Consider another example from the Jewish tradition, which is prayer. Prayer itself is done in a minyan, right? A group of people. The holiday prayers are said as we come into confession. In our lowest points, we're still standing together. We're saying, we have sinned. Father, forgive us. We do everything together with a united, godly purpose, at least we're supposed to. And in the earlier instructions, I want to remind you, prior to any of this, when God gave the instructions for them to build the tabernacle, he said, build a place that I may dwell among them, right? Make a holy place for me so that I may dwell among them. And that seems sort of weird. A holy place should be for God to dwell within it, that they're going to build this building and there God can come and dwell within the building. Should it read it or should it read them? Yes. It is so that God could come and build. But the real dwelling, the real power of God that we witness is God in the midst of community. Dwell among where the people are, where they're gathered for a holy purpose. He does dwell in us in his spirit anyway, but he dwells among us. A community, wherever it is, when it is functioning within Hillel's words, which is, if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? But if I'm only for me, what does that make me? That's what a community looks like. And for all the benefits of everything I talked about for 4 weeks, and healthy thinking and confidence and taking action and conquering fear, they're all good. But a healthy religious community only amplifies the power of those things. You know that during COVID, there are studies that indicate that the only people who did not have any type of depression or decline in their mental health, not only, but are the people who stayed affiliated in some kind of community of worship. I didn't research this study, but the point is that when you have healthy community, there are fewer signs of depression. Listen to this, people have better cardiovascular and immune function. They are happier. They tend to drink less. There's lower use of drugs. They give more to charity. They donate blood more often, for goodness sakes. What is a healthy religious community? There are a lot of them that are not. It's a community that's not like the golden calf version. It's built on a servant community, family, faith, community, cause, because true fulfillment comes from service, not self. That's from a great book called The Second Mountain by David Brooks. It's true. I want you to notice something else about the Torah portion. We don't even have to get past 4 lines of the Torah portion to learn these things. The first thing Moses says after he gathers the people, he assembled the children of Israel. These are the words which Adonai has commanded you to do. Work is to be done for 6 days. What does he start talking about right away? Right after the golden calf, what's he talk about? First thing, Shabbat. Why? That's weird. Because Shabbat represents the complete rejection of individualism and self-promotion. He is strengthening the community back into alignment with a holy purpose. Shabbat it forces us to pause our worldly pursuits, all of our ambitions and our personal gain striving, and we focus instead on what? having a meal together, being together, spending time together, giving adoration and acknowledgement to God, rest, reflection. We spend time together. And it says literally, whoever does any work will die. Now that's literal. That's halakhic law. That's Jewish law. A lot of interpretation surrounding that, but that is. But there's also a figurative moment. An illustrative moment. If you can't take the time, folks, to put it all aside and just come together as a community and rest and reflect and laugh and eat and hang out, part of you dies because that's not the way we're built. You have to have it. There is this profound truth of human beings dwelling better in community. And a specific kind of community. You've heard this phrase, nothing unifies like a common enemy. You ever heard that? It's very true. But those situations always devolve into destruction. I have something very personal and connected. It's a golden calf thing. Those people in Israel at that particular moment were unified against a common enemy. What was the enemy? Fear, lack of faith. All of these things. You know, when this community here started in 2009, we had come out of a pretty heartbreaking kind of separation from another community that we were all very, very close to. And a small number of people came because that it was just sort of that's what they felt led to do. And so we started worshiping together, but you know what? We too were unified in some sense against a common enemy. It wasn't that community, that wasn't it. It was the hurt that we all felt. We came together just to sort of wallow in our emotional anguish and pain. And you know what happened? It disintegrated. That passed on, and like there were issues and everything. You can't unify against a common enemy. You have to unify with a common purpose. There's a very big difference. You unify, nothing unifies like a common purpose, which is what we see happening in the Mishkan. All these people, yes, of course, they were incredibly grateful that they had been forgiven. I want you to note, just as a side note, sorry, that, you know, this idea that the Old Testament God is really angry and he's bloodthirsty and, oh, thank God Jesus came and we got rid of that Old Testament God. I want you to recognize the grace that's demonstrated here to Israel. There's no altar, there's no sacrifice, there's no tabernacle. God chooses to demonstrate grace to this community. They had the highest sin, he demonstrates the highest grace and says, I'll go with you. I'll still go with you. But it's going to be because you're aligned in a common purpose. And they respond very, very strongly to that. They bring so much that they have to tell them to stop bringing things. Is it guilt? Maybe. I don't think so. I think it's the power of unification in a common purpose of good and of God. That's the kind of community. Nothing unifies like a common goal. And you know what? I can't help, as I'm thinking through this, I can't help but think about the community that we have here. This isn't really the purpose of the message, yet I walk in and I see Rusty, the security guard. We hired Rusty from a security service. He's supposed to come and provide security, and then he goes home, okay? That's how it's supposed to work. First of all, Rusty drives like 2.5 hours one way to get here. Okay? Rusty has had a lot of health challenges, like a lot of health challenges. But he absolutely loves being here. He loves every one of you. I didn't sell him a bag of goods. He walked in here and he felt it. And he sees it, and he said, you know what, even if I didn't work for that security company, I will come here and protect every one of you because I love you. He called about my mom. Rusty, our security guard. He's not our security guard. He's our brother. He's a part of the community, and he feels the unified purpose that occurs here. And it's not just here, it's everywhere. It's out there. And all of you people out there, we want to be for you whatever we can be. However we do that from 50,000 miles away. Is the world even 50,000 miles big? I don't think so. Israel, I know, is 6,900 miles away. You know why? I got a little tracker on Annabelle's keychain. My daughter in college, and when I was in Israel, I looked at my thing and it said, "You're 6,900 miles away from Annabelle." Wherever you are, this community tries to be aligned in purpose for God and for each other. Understanding that, and this is why I gave you those messages of the past 4 weeks, I don't want to be a leader of a bunch of whining, sniveling weaklings. It sounds extremely harsh. You know I don't mean that. I'm always here to help people. But I'm going to help you be the best that you can be. I spend a lot of my time doing that, reading and learning and how to be the best I can be so that I can share these things. And I'm going to do that. I'm very passionate about that. But without this, without our hearts devoted to one another, without our hearts devoted to common purpose, to serve God, to serve one another, it's all useless. If I'm not for me, who will be for me? But if I'm only for me, what am I? And Hillel ends that triplet statement with something that's on my wall in my office. He says those 3 things, and then he ends it by saying, Im lo achshav, imatai. If not now, when? And all I can tell you is, community messages and sort of fluffy and all that, I don't care. The world is desperately in need of running away from this guy named Narcissus. And no one really, it's so hard to find a place to go. And they don't necessarily have to come here to be a part of a community. But what I want you to do is to understand that you have to be for yourself, but my goodness, you've got to be for them. And when you establish those relationships, within, without, you bring light to the world. If not now, when? Achshav. Say it. Now. Shabbat Shalom. Let's stand together, my friends. I had the pleasure this week, it's really sort of been an absolute whirlwind. It's hard to believe. A week ago, I was in the great synagogue in Israel. Now I'm in the greater synagogue in Macon. But I have had the unique, beautiful privilege of seeing our community in action when it comes to my mom. I got that news on my way home from Israel. Kelly and I spoke to my dad that they had found a mass in my mom's abdomen, and that we got home Thursday night at 11, and she was going in for surgery Friday to remove this mass, which they did. It was a very, very large mass that they removed through a pretty difficult procedure, so she's still really struggling through the recovery of that. They did find cancer in this mass. The amazingly great news is that they think that they have gotten all of that, and it's self-contained. So I just want to say how incredibly grateful I am, my parents, Kelly, our whole family are for what community looks like. You sometimes can take it very much for granted until you need it. There are things to do with my mom. We still have tests. There are cell samples and all kinds of things that have to be reviewed. So I would ask that you would continue to pray for Chava, my mom, and that we will see a full healing. That way I can say that both of my parents are cancer survivors. My dad had stage 4 lymphoma in 2004. God took us through that. He'll take us through this. Baruch Hashem. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you. Chava Bat Dorothy. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu ki goye haratzon, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu ki chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malhech hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shechunot Shamayim v'Yoser Haaretz, U'moshav Yikaro b'Shamayim mimal, U'shchinatu zo, b'govei meromim, Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emed Malkeinu Efes Ulato, Kakatu b'Torato, v'yadat hachayom v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, b'shamayim mimal, v'al haaretz, mitachateno. Ne'emar v'chaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad u'shemo echad. On that day, the Lord will be one, and his name will be one. If I could tell you how many times I say the Aleinu and stand there after services and feel God like giving me a correction, it's such an odd thing. I'm thankful for it, but I am very, very clearly hearing Hashem say that I could have come off as being very offensive when I said I didn't want to lead a congregation of snivelers. You know what I mean. I want you to be amazing. I want you to be full of bliss. But you know what? I will always help you walk through anything that you need to walk through with no judgment, with no criticism, with no condemnation. That's what we do as a community. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you his peace. B'Shem Yeshua. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yihuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shabbat Shalom, my friends. Spend it well with some people you love.